Welcome, Wastelanders, to the first episode of Season 2 titled Safe Home. As I'm sure some of you may have seen, I made a post about how the phrase safe home has a lot of meaning for me, especially in regards to connecting it to my grandmother, who passed away before she could see me do this podcast. Safe home was her blessing after every visit, and it was her last words to me that I now have tattooed on my wrist. So, with that in mind, I dedicate this episode to her memory. Enjoy. This is Grimm Grinner on all channels. News of violent attacks within the GTA.
Short bursts of unrestrained violence and aggressive behavior.
Counts down to 0.
Devastation spread.
Is there anyone there? Welcome to the Wastes. Well, Wastelanders, we did it. CJ and I made it to Brb'Lac. I know I left the last broadcast with a bit of uncertainty as to how getting to the gates would go. And if I'm being honest, I really didn't know how it would end up. Hearing about there being a test and the stories surrounding Mama Coog, I was half anticipating ending up flatlined, but I guess my own stories beat me here. Turns out, Alley Cat is second in command to Mama Coog herself, and she had been hearing our broadcasts as we got closer, and decided to reach out to help us get in. No test needed. We ended up being brought right to Mama Coog, who has welcomed us into Brb'Lac as allies, and even set us up in the cabin that houses the radio systems. The atomic maple's parked next to it, so I can boost the signal using some of our equipment, meaning I should be able to get this broadcast out a bit farther, hopefully. CJ and I might actually do some tinkering shortly, since they do have some tech I've been looking for out there. In my talk with Mama Coog, I also learned that the stories I had heard were pretty true about how she got here and set up Brb'Lac, although there was one admitted exaggeration. Apparently it was only about a dozen of her former crew that she had to put down, and she did have the help of the ones who were sticking with her. It was still about 12 to 3, so I still call that pretty badass. Speaking of badasses, I have a shout out to transmit today. There's word coming out of the bakery that a small group of wastelanders calling themselves Stultus Aurum took out an elite creep team that was skulking around just south of the rift. Not exactly sure where these folks came from, but any team that can take on a crew of elites has my respect, and are definitely welcome to join me on a supply run or something sometime. Alright, switching gears here, I should probably address an interruption that was in our last broadcast. Not the corporate one, since that's kind of par for the course now. No, this is the input from someone calling themselves the Knave of Truth. From what I could gather talking to some folks here, no one's really caught any of the full broadcasts. Just snippets here and there on various frequencies, always spouting some bizarre theories about pre-waste politics, shady goings-on in the wasteland or in the GAT, and always using a different voice modulator. I don't know about anyone else, but honestly, if there was some nefarious entity out there manipulating events or even planning the feral virus, I feel like they're locked up pretty tightly in the GAT, and that's if they even exist. I remember hearing all sorts of weird theories like this back in the old world, and a lot of the people putting them out there usually were laughed at and ignored. Mostly because there was rarely ever any solid evidence. But now, I'm honestly surprised there's not more broadcasts spouting the same tales. Whether it's all true or not, I'm going to take this person with a grain of salt. I don't doubt you may be onto something, Knave, especially after what I saw in the vault. But unless I can get some solid proof on anything you're broadcasting, I'll stick to my own transmissions.
Oh, really, Grimm? I can call you Grimm, right?
You almost sound scared to be behind the curtain.
And with what you found in that bunker?
Oh, those experiments go so much deeper than you can even imagine.
Where do you think this all started? If only you knew what I knew.
And a huge thanks to Layton over at the trading post for the safe home doormat I was able to pick up. It's been secured right outside the broadcast station here. Honestly, I still can't believe that I was able to find something with such meaning to me from the old world. I still remember growing up hearing that phrase, and out in a wasted world like we live in now, it means so much to have something like that in a safe place like this. Now I just need to scavenge a sign that I can modify for the front door. If anyone has access to some green and white paints, I've actually got some supplies that I can trade, and some scrap that would be pretty useful in the hands of someone more skilled than me. Or if you just want some caps or something, I'm sure we can sort something out. We'll be settling in here at Brb'Lac for a little bit, and I'll have things on to receive transmissions in case of anything happening out there. I was able to scavenge some equipment to be able to work on some new tech to be able to broadcast out a bit easier. That's if we're at all away from the atomic maple. I'm hoping for the chance to go on a supply run, see how things are done here at Brb'Lac, and maybe even try to figure out how far out the historian might be, since I heard rumors he wasn't too far from the settlement. For now, we're gonna rest. Although I'm pretty sure CJ is hanging out at the mechanics area trying to scrounge up some upgrades herself, so. Until next time, this has been Grimm Grinner on all channels. See you in the wastes. Welcome to The Wastes is a wasteland podcast brought to you by Edward Grimm Grinner Hutchinson. Feel free to follow me on all social media and make sure to subscribe to hear more new episodes as they release. If you like what I do here and want to get some cool buttons or an enamel pin, check me out on Buy Me a Coffee. Donations there go towards being able to produce the best content I can make, and I offer some pretty fun perks as well. For more information and all the links, check out linktree.com/welcome to the wastes. See you in the wastes.